Welcome to this explainer. When you picture a farm, you're probably thinking of sprawling dirt fields, some heavy tractors, maybe a scarecrow, right? Well, scratch that. Over in the ultra-modern heart of Singapore, there's this silent agricultural revolution happening, and it's rising straight up into the sky. It's fundamentally transforming the future of food. We're looking at a world where farming isn't just a rural thing anymore. It's literally becoming part of the city skyline. To really get why this is happening, you gotta hear this number, 90%. That's how much food land-scarce Singapore actually imports. I mean, when space is at an absolute premium and skyscrapers are absolutely everywhere, vertical farming isn't just some fun, quirky experiment. It is a bold, absolutely critical survival strategy designed to secure their future. So, in today's explainer, we're going to keep it simple. We'll quickly run through Singapore's bold survival strategy, define the actual tech behind modern farming, check out the powerful environmental benefits, and then wrap up with what this all means for the future of global food. All right, part one, Singapore's bold survival strategy. Instead of building out across endless horizontal fields, they're building up. Imagine these glowing towers packed with vibrant greens, all sitting inside these towering, futuristic glass buildings. It is this breathtaking fusion of nature and architecture. Honestly, it looks like a sci-fi movie, but it's a very real, physical response to the desperate need for local food security. Okay, moving on to part two, defining modern farming technology. Let's look at how you actually grow crops with zero soil and absolutely no sunlight. The first big one to understand is hydroponics. Basically, this system completely ditches traditional soil and swaps it out for a perfectly balanced, nutrient-rich water solution. So inside these vertical farms, you've got rows of lettuce, kale, strawberries, you name it, and they're thriving just by pulling exactly what they need, like precise mixtures of nitrogen and potassium straight from this flowing water. Then we have aeroponics, which honestly sounds like straight-up magic, but it's pure science. Here, the roots aren't even sitting in flowing water. They're just suspended in the air. The nutrients are delivered through this perfectly calibrated mist that just lightly coats the exposed roots. Because the plants have totally unrestricted access to oxygen, it actually forces them to grow way faster and healthier. And it's not just the water systems doing the heavy lifting. You've got these glowing pink and purple LED lights stepping in to completely replace the sun. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is essentially acting as the ultimate farmer, monitoring the temperature, the humidity, and the growth cycles every single second. Some places even use rotating mechanical towers to slowly move the plants around for perfect light exposure. Put it all together, and it feels way more like a clean room on a space station than a typical farm. Which brings us to part three, the powerful environmental benefits. The environmental advantages here are just staggering. For instance, an incredible 95% of the water is saved because these hydroponic and aeroponic setups endlessly recycle their resources drop by drop. They use a tiny, tiny fraction of the water that conventional farming needs. And the crazy part? While saving all that water, they're actually yielding several times more food per square meter than a traditional flat farm. Think about traditional farming for a second. You usually have to truck food thousands of miles, which causes a ton of pollution, and by the time it gets to you, it's not even that fresh. But vertical farming turns urban spaces like rooftops and old abandoned warehouses into living green factories. Because they're right there in the city, fresh veggies only travel a few kilometers to reach the store. We're cutting out all that transportation pollution, meaning the lettuce picked this morning can literally be crisp and fresh on your dinner table tonight. All right, part four, the future of global food. Let's zoom out and look way beyond Singapore. We all know extreme weather, intense droughts, and shrinking farmland are massively threatening traditional agriculture all over the world. But right now, everyone is watching Singapore because they're proving that overcrowded, super-developed cities can actually become fully self-sustaining food hubs. They're showing us that just because you lack traditional land doesn't mean you lack the ability to grow real food. And here's where it gets incredibly cool. Scientists are currently studying these exact same vertical, hydroponic, and aeroponic systems as blueprints for the future. And not just for Earth. They're looking at them as potential models for future colonies on the Moon and Mars. Because, let's be real, getting a fresh food delivery to a Martian crater isn't happening anytime soon. In those extreme environments, every single piece of food is absolutely going to have to be grown in a completely controlled, zero-soil ecosystem, exactly like what's running in Singapore today. So, Singapore's vertical farm revolution is doing so much more than just giving people local veggies. It's totally redefining our relationship with food, space, and sustainability. And it leaves us with this huge question to think about. Are the farms of tomorrow going to keep stretching across the endless dirt, or are they going to leave the ground entirely and rise up into the clouds?